Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most profound and, frankly, mind-bending mysteries in Eastern philosophy. We're pulling this right from the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, specifically zooming in on the chapter about the illness of the Tathagata. Now, Tathagata is just another way of saying the ultimate awakened one, the Buddha. And here is the massive paradox we're going to unpack. How is it that the ultimate awakened being, someone who has literally conquered all physical and mental suffering, suddenly tells his followers that he's got a really bad backache? We're going to deeply explore the philosophical implications behind the Buddha manifesting this illness. As you'll see, we're going to analyze how this apparent physical frailty isn't a weakness at all. It's actually a deliberate, awe-inspiring display of immense compassion and a masterful teaching tool designed to guide others. Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll examine the Buddha's illness. Then, we'll diagnose the 3 obstacles. After that, we'll uncover the secret teaching, reveal the ultimate cure, and wrap things up with the holy conduct.
All right, diving right into Section 1, the Buddha's illness. So we enter this whole philosophical narrative through the eyes of a highly advanced disciple named Bodhisattva, Kasyapa. Now, a bodhisattva is someone who is already way down the path to awakening and is totally dedicated to helping all beings. I want you to put yourself in Kasyapa's shoes for a second. The text tells us that ordinary human illness comes from 4 metaphorical poison arrows: greed, anger, ignorance, and pride. But a perfectly enlightened being is, by absolute definition, totally free of those poisons. He spent countless lifetimes wiping out the root causes of pain. So how on earth could he be resting on his side, complaining of a backache, and acting like an ordinary, frail, sick person who needs his family to step in and handle things? To a brilliant student like Kasyapa, this just fundamentally contradicts the whole idea of enlightenment.
And Bodhisattva Kasyapa actually calls this out. He asks, why does the taming master of gods and men rest like an ordinary sick person, leaning against the twin trees? It's a completely jarring contrast, right? On one side, you have the ultimate spiritual master. The sutra says he lives in a pure land, a flawless, radiant realm totally free of suffering. And yet, right in the middle of all that perfection, you have this physical body that suddenly seems to be decaying, weak, and entirely dependent on other people. Kasyapa knows something isn't adding up. To really drive home just how impossible this illness is, the sutra actually breaks down his physical strength mathematically, and it's pretty wild. It escalates like this. The strength of 10 ordinary bulls equals 1 great bull. 10 great bulls equal 1 Himalayan white elephant, and it just keeps multiplying. It goes up to a champion human wrestler, then to mystical beings, all the way up to a 10-stage bodhisattva. The text says these advanced beings have bones that are powerfully interlocked like dragons, making them virtually indestructible. And the Buddha's strength, it exponentially surpasses even that. From a purely logical standpoint, his body is considered a diamond body. So for a being on this level, catching a bug or getting a backache is mathematically, physically impossible. No way.
Which brings us to Section 2, the 3 obstacles.
Okay, so if the Buddha can't actually be physically sick, what is he curing? Well, we have to completely pivot our perspective here. The sutra tells us that the great physician isn't out here treating mundane stuff like a fever or a cough. He's treating humanity's 3 deepest, most catastrophic obstacles. First up, afflictions. Think about the intense anger, the blinding jealousy, or the deep-seated greed that wrecks our daily lives. These are psychological poisons that keep us totally trapped. Second is karma, the heavy, destructive cycles and unpardonable actions we get locked into. And third, retribution, which is the resulting suffering experienced in the absolute lowest, most painful realms of existence. These 3 things, these are the true deadly diseases of the universe that need a radical cure.
Moving on to Section 3, the secret teaching.
And this is where we get the big reveal, the real aha moment of the paradox. We have a massive contrast between ordinary reality and cosmic philosophy. Casual observers look at the Buddha lying there and think, see, he's just like us. He's decaying, he's impermanent, he's gonna die. But then the text drops what it calls the secret teaching. The profound reality here is that the Buddha's illness is an illusion. It's not physical failure at all. It's a brilliant, deliberate act of supreme empathy. It's an intentional teaching tool. Let's unpack this secret teaching. In Eastern philosophy, this is what's known as skillful means. Think about it. If the ultimate awakened being only ever showed up as this invincible, glowing deity who never felt an ounce of pain, we wouldn't be able to relate to him at all. Absolute perfection can actually be incredibly alienating. By showing vulnerability, By acting like he understands pain, aging, and human fragility, he creates this absolutely crucial bridge of empathy. Out of boundless compassion, he uses the illusion of illness to connect with ordinary people, drawing them in close enough so he can finally deliver the real medicine.
So, what is the remedy? Section 4, the ultimate cure. Once that bridge of empathy is built, the sutra describes this sudden, jaw-dropping transformation. The Buddha rises from his sickbed, his face shining like a full moon or molten gold, and he emits this incredibly radiant light from every single pore of his body. And this isn't just a physical glow, it's the illuminating light of great wisdom. The text paints this awe-inspiring picture of the light piercing through the darkest, most agonizing realms of existence, down into the hells, the realms of perpetually hungry ghosts. Wherever this compassionate light touches, the burning heat, the freezing cold, the agonizing pain, it's all instantly extinguished, replaced entirely by profound peace and joy.
And right in the middle of this radiant glow, the core message of the secret teaching is finally delivered. The light carries one ultimate truth. All sentient beings possess Buddha nature. This, right here, is the ultimate medicine. Buddha nature is the concept that, deep down, at your absolute core, there is a seed of perfection, and it cannot be tainted by your mistakes, your karma, or your pain. It's the revelation that no matter how deep your suffering goes, you have the innate, indestructible capacity for total awakening. Understanding that single truth is what actually cures the root disease of suffering.
And finally, how do we apply this? Section 5, the holy conduct. Because let's be real, cosmic philosophy is only useful if we can actually use it in our lives. The sutra grounds this huge concept with a really tense story called the parable of the floating bag. Okay, picture a traveler swimming across a deadly ocean, surviving only because he's holding on to a leather floating bag. Suddenly, a flesh-eating demon, a raksha, swims up and demands the whole bag. The traveler flat out refuses. So the demon starts haggling. Give me half, a third, just a handful. He haggles all the way down to a microscopic, dust-sized piece of the bag. But the traveler's smart. He knows that even a microscopic hole will pop the bag and sink him. So he absolutely refuses to give up even a single speck, and because of that, he safely reaches the shore.
That floating bag, that represents the holy conduct, our spiritual precepts, our ethical boundaries, and our moral integrity. If we want to cure the disease of suffering, we have to let go of toxic attachments and strictly guard those boundaries. The demons of our own internal afflictions are always going to try to bargain with us, right? Whispering, oh, just one little compromise, just one small break in your ethics won't hurt. But we have to keep an immovable, diamond-like mind. We might not have that indestructible diamond body we talked about earlier, but we can absolutely forge an indestructible diamond mind. This kind of steadfast discipline is how we protect our own precious Buddha nature from sinking into the ocean of suffering.
Which leaves us with a final, really profound thought to chew on. We've seen today how the Buddha's illness wasn't a weakness, but a masterful, deeply compassionate illusion meant to connect with human frailty. So I invite you to look at your own life. If the ultimate awakened being deliberately uses vulnerability as a powerful tool to teach and heal, how can your own genuine struggles, your real pain, become a bridge of empathy to help others? Next time you're facing a tough moment, remember, your vulnerability might just be the exact skillful means someone else needs to find their own awakening. Thanks for joining us today.